Shin splints, there's a chronicity effect with some of my clients, and that they're chronically getting them, and then they come and they want to know why. And oftentimes I'm the last person they see, and they're doing the strengthening, they're doing the stretching, they're doing the ice, but it's honestly mechanics, and it's just little things that might need to be looked at that can make big differences. Number one is that how your foot hits the ground makes a difference. So when I go to take a step and I load through my heel, there's this subtle interplay at the ankle, then the knee, and then the hip that I'm going to exaggerate it. I'm actually going like this. My tibia is coming in, and my whole knee is coming in, and my hip is what activates and then keeps my knee and ankle and everything aligned. So that is why when we do the strengthening exercises, it's really important to work the outer hip and to get your glutes to fire, because if that's not firing, how you load from the bottom up can make a difference. Now, with that said, when we're doing some exercises, just even how you're standing makes a difference. So if I'm standing and I'm collapsing in the foot, then that's going to not necessarily load through my lower body in the most optimal way. So we talk about the yawn to short foot, and that's basically if I had a roller skate on, as one of my coworkers says, and there are wheels here and here, and on the back heel. I want to have equal pressure. Like if you're wearing roller skates, you can't be on one wheel and not the other. That's how we want to be when we're loading through our foot. So when we're doing exercises such as a lunge, we're thinking about that foot having equal pressure, and that's hard. So sometimes I just have people stay stationary, board closed, and get a feeling for what it feels like to get that foot stable. Even doing an exercise by drawing the toes back, we've talked about this in other blogs, about how that just starts to strengthen the arch of the foot. That can be really helpful. So, talking of one-legged work, when your foot hits the ground, you also want to think about the hip staying strong, and a great exercise is what's called a curtsy lunge. It's basically coming back and coming around. Now my hip is jutting out to the side to almost what we call load, to get that hip to turn on. You can incorporate this by standing sideways and start to add a more dynamic movement with the glide board pressing up the rails. Now, that's great to strengthen. But when you go to do a one-legged activity, like we just did with the lunge, a lot of times people shift their hips and then they're here when they're doing a lunge. And that line of pull is not optimal. It actually creates stress top down and bottom up, meaning that the shins can be taking the brunt. So when you go to one-legged work, keep your knee and hip aligned. So I tell people, feel like you push your hip slightly in. Now you have to stabilize. So now you feel this action, and then you bring the leg back, and then you add the lunge component, and it makes any single leg work significantly more effective, especially with working the outer hip, and a lot more challenging as well.